Hey guys, welcome to this week's Did You Know with Nina and Christine by NextHome Shore Success. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about something that comes up a lot here at the Jersey Shore, issues with waterfront properties and how that can affect the sale. Because as you know, New Jersey has so much coastline, plus rivers, bays, lakes, and streams. A lot of the properties here are either on the water or they're very close to it. And while most people understand the importance of inspections and title searches, waterfront properties come with a few extra things you need to look out for, specifically riparian rights and tideland claims. So, Christine, can you actually explain a little bit more about those riparian rights?
Yeah, absolutely. So, in simple terms, riparian refers to land along rivers and streams, and littoral, and I'm so sorry, guys, it's just a word that I have trouble with. Littoral is another word you might see come up every once in a while, and that refers to lakes and oceans. But in New Jersey, we group all this together under what's called the tidelands. And so here's the key point to that, is that if your property borders water, you have the right to access and reasonably use that water, but you don't automatically own the land underneath it. And under New Jersey law, the state, it owns all that land that's currently or ever was flowed by the mean high tide of any natural waterway.
Exactly. And that's where things actually get a little tricky. So, flowed by the tide means if high tide touched that land at any point in history, even 100 plus years ago, the state can claim ownership of it. So even if your backyard is dry today, if there used to be a tidal creek running through it decades ago, the state may still consider it their land.
Right, and when that happens, it creates what's called a tidelands claim, which shows up as a cloud on the title, and that's a big deal because if there is a cloud on title, a lender typically won't approve a mortgage, so it could delay your sale or completely stop it.
So how do we actually go about fixing this? There's actually only two ways, guys. So one of them is tideland license. Okay, so essentially that is getting permission from the state to use that land. Whether you're building a dock on it or installing a boat mooring, you need to get that license. And this usually comes ongoing annual fees that you have to pay. Now, mind you, Thailand license only really is required for land that is still considered currently tidal, meaning there's still water, running through it. The other option is riparian grants, and this is for land that no longer is considered tidal, meaning that water's dried up. You have your solid ground now. But that is the ability to be able to purchase that land from the state, which essentially will permanently clear that claim.
And, you guys, it's important to know these fixes, they're not quick or cheap or easy. A riparian grant could cost you anywhere from around $1,000 to tens or maybe even hundreds of thousands. Just depends on the size of your claim. And the process itself, it's not weeks. It could take years.
Exactly. Also, if a property owner has, been using the state-owned land, like having a dock without proper licensing, the state can actually issue penalties and back charges. That can turn into a lien and make the title situation even worse.
So what does this all mean for buyers and sellers? It means you want to absolutely make sure that a tidelands claim search is done as part of your title work when you're dealing with any waterfront property or any property near enough water. Because if you miss it, right, if this is missed, you can end up responsible for clearing it later, and that can get expensive too, fast.
Bottom line, waterfront properties are amazing, but they do come with an added layer of due diligence that you want to make sure gets done and taken care of and done. All right, guys. So next week, we're actually going to continue a little bit on the waterfront properties here, and we're going to talk about another big factor that needs to be considered, bulkheads. So we're going to go over them and why they're just as important to understand. All right, thank you so much, guys. And of course, as always, our contact information is here up on the screen. So if you are looking to, purchase a waterfront property or have questions about this, or just in general looking to buy or sell in, say, in New Jersey, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or Christine. We are more than happy to help you out and make sure that, you're guided through, what essentially could be a slightly overwhelming process and make sure you have all the information you need. Here's our contact information right there.
Well, we hope you guys have a beautiful week, and please don't forget to like, share, and follow, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.